Panic time for Liverpool. Fourth loss in a row. Their first loss at Anfield in over 12 months at the hands of Manchester United. Was it a brilliant performance by Manchester United or was it a poor performance by Liverpool?
I think we have to say that Manchester United were fortunate to win this game. We saw the defense still giving up big chances. Gakpo hit the woodwork 3 times. And if the spin of the ball was a little bit different, Manchester United could have lost the game 3-2 or 4-2 even. I don't want to take the victory away from Manchester United because it was a performance that showed togetherness, desire to actually get 2 wins in a row for the first time in Amorim's tenure. But just being honest, it was a poor performance from Liverpool. I didn't see great performances from really any Manchester United players outside of maybe Matheus Cunha, who I thought, despite not really threatening from an offensive perspective, the way he was able to hold up the ball, keep possession during the dying moments of the game where Liverpool were really pressing. And we all thought maybe that Liverpool would go ahead after getting the tying goal, but it was Manchester United who reversed the fortunes and got the goal from Harry Maguire, of all people. You have to give credit to Manchester United for not giving up, not walking into the game already defeated. And now they kick on and maybe they can get 3 wins on the bounce.
I thought United did well. They weren't outstanding. I thought there were some player performances that were worthy of note. Bruno Fernandes, we all know how talented he is. His vision and his distribution is really top class. I also felt that Ahmad did a pretty good job on the right wing for United. Were quite dangerous. And that was my expectation. We know that Kirkes is struggling a little bit. So United were targeting that side of the pitch. I thought Casemiro, considering the fact that he was away on international duty at his age, I thought he looked rather comfortable. I thought that would have been a spot of vulnerability for United. But he seemed relatively comfortable in a 2-man midfield, having to carry that workload. I thought he did pretty well. The goalkeeper, I'm curious, what do you think of?
I think he's doing well. He's shown that he's bringing a sense of comfort to the back line. I feel like they are believing in his ability to make the saves that he should make and not make mistakes or errors that he shouldn't make. When you look at De Ligt, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, you wouldn't think that they would be able to control Liverpool's high-octane attack, but they did well to control them in pockets. Lemons, he was able to be in the right position, control the box, crosses, and decent performance. Again, we can't say that it was a lights-out performance for Manchester United, but enough to get the job done. I don't know, from your perspective, did you see anyone else outside of Casemiro that you thought really showed something special?
Harry Maguire obviously got the winning goal, I think, up against Isak, who is one of the most mobile strikers in the Premier League. Him and De Ligt, they handled that threat pretty easily, whether that's as a result of Isak not really feeling comfortable with the team yet or not really in form or whatever the case. I think Harry Maguire did a commendable job. I was expecting a little bit more from Mason Mount, to be honest. I thought the flanks have been a really weakness for Liverpool. And Mbeumo obviously got the goal early. I thought both of the wingers for United didn't have their most potent games. I was expecting a little bit more from Mbeumo and Mason Mount. Other than that, I think it was just a good all-around performance from United. They did what they had to do. They weathered the storm, got the 3 points.
Yeah, and I've been very critical of Ruben Amorim, so I have to give him a bit of credit. We did see United dropping into more of a 5-4-1 formation when they did not have the ball, but they were willing to suffer, willing to take the waves of the attack and withstand them with good structure. I do want to give Ruben Amorim some credit for tactical adjustments that were effective for once in a game. Let's hope he could continue that going forward, at least from me as a Manchester United supporter. So thinking about the other team in a bona fide crisis, that's Liverpool. As you mentioned, 4 games they've lost in a row. If they were to lose a 5th, it would be the first time they've lost 5 games in a row in 72 years. I think the term crisis is not really an overstatement for the level of this club. What do you think is the main driver? Is it Slot or is it the players?
Quick question to answer. I think it's the players. Slot, this is the system that he employed last season, same exact system, and they won the league. Of course, teams have adjusted. The opponents have seen what Liverpool have to offer and have made adjustments to try to nullify their threat. But I think there are a lot of players who are underperforming. Mo Salah obviously misfiring. The players that they brought in haven't really lived up to the expectations. Isak not really doing much. Florian Wirtz being benched now. McAllister looks really out of form. The defense, much has been made about Van Dijk and Konate. And we saw it again. Lackluster defending, very casual. Kirkes, game by game, it's almost getting worse. Connor Bradley, not up to the task. It's the player performances for me. I do have some questions about his selection in this particular game, given the fact that United play a two-man midfield. This might have been the opportunity for Florian Wirtz to come into a game where he would have had a bit more space to operate, and this possibly could have been the game to get this season started. He was left on the bench. It may have been a missed opportunity. Also, at this point, I have to question whether Ekitike is not the player to be started. In the games that he started, he's proven his worth. I think Isak, of course, comes with a big reputation, but he's done very little to justify a starting spot to me. So there are some player selection issues for Liverpool, but I think in general, the level of performances from the players is the issue.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing what our viewers have to say, so please leave your comments. Let us know what you think. Is it the players or is it the coach? From my perspective, I think it's a bit of both, but if I had to choose one, I would choose the coach. Because when you think about playing in a team, what you want as a player is a meritocracy. You want to know that if you play well, you follow instructions, you exceed expectations, that you will play. What we see from Slot is a manager who is starting players based on reputation, based on what they did last season, not this season. And the two players that I would call out, one of whom you already called out, Isak. The other would be Mo Salah. We know Salah is one of the greatest players in Premier League history. Right now, he's a passenger. He's almost a detriment to Liverpool's play when he's so uninvolved, and the times that he does touch the ball, he's missing chances that he would at least test the keeper in the past. He's not even putting on frame. With the team that they have to have a full meritocracy, and Salah has to be part of them and be subject to sit on the bench, not forever, but when he's out of form, give someone else a chance. We saw as Liverpool were chasing the game, Frimpong came in, and all of a sudden there was an outlet on the right. He put in two beautiful crosses. One was right on the dime. Gakpo had a free header, should have scored. Not to say that Frimpong is on the level of Salah from a winger perspective, but I think when you have his pace, his ability to get the ball into the box, especially when you see your central striker being starved of service, then maybe you make that change. So I think Slot not starting Ekitike and also sticking with Salah is an issue. And if it's something that he doesn't change pretty soon, I think we'll start to see disharmony within the team. And maybe we're seeing that already. You mentioned Kirkes week after week, looking like he's not getting better, but maybe going in the opposite direction. We also see Virgil van Dijk getting more and more upset with each week that passes. There was a cross that came in and Van Dijk went to clear it and he miskicked the ball, but Kirkes was right behind him. He gave Kirkes a scolding right after he had that miskick. And I think the other thing we haven't mentioned is Marmadashvili. Not to say that he's done poorly, but I don't believe Van Dijk has the confidence in him. So with Konate out of form, Kirkes not betting in, Bradley, we both agree, not really ready to play at this level and not sure if he ever will be. We see Van Dijk frustrated, and the player who is supposed to bring the team together, bring the team down when they're agitated or anxious, is the player who's almost causing more anxiety in a way. That's really a recipe for disaster. You mentioned Florian Wirtz being a good opportunity for him to play in this game. And I have a question in my mind. We talked about Chelsea's best 11. I think the question about Liverpool's best 11 is an important question now. Not only what is Liverpool's best 11, but what formation should they be playing with what players? What do you think about that?
Yeah, a back four for Liverpool. Kirkes, they don't really have, okay, you have Andy Robertson, but Andy Robertson is, I don't want to say past his prime, but he is past his prime. And Kirkes, he will get better. He will get better. On the right, Frimpong, obviously, he was brought in to play that position. For some reason, Slot is not happy with him. I think it has a little bit to do with his defensive work. He's a marauding fullback, and with Mo Salah, who does very little defensive work, it's a bit of a problem. But I would risk it. I think what Conor Bradley brings doesn't warrant not taking a risk. I would start Frimpong. Konate and Van Dijk, they have to start. There could be an argument made for a back three, potentially with Gomez. I would have to think a little bit more about that. In the midfield, clearly Gravenberch is the player that has to play. I'm leaning towards benching McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch in the midfield. And you have to play Florian Wirtz. You have to play him. He hasn't played well, but he needs time to play. On the left, Gakpo, for me, has provided the biggest threat for Liverpool. As controversial as it is, or maybe it's not, I would start Ekitike. Mo Salah on the right, it's a tough call right now to refer to your point before about the meritocracy. I guess the hope for Slot is that at some point Mo Salah's form is going to come back. Maybe it takes one game where he clicks, and we all know what Mo Salah can do when it does click. And as you mentioned before, who do you bring in on that right flank? Chiesa is an option, but he's a goal poacher. He doesn't really bring much more to the team than that. You have the young player in Gomoa, obviously a very bright prospect, but can you really rely on him? It might be a bit too early to throw him in at the deep end. Maybe try Isak on the right. That's something that could possibly be an option. But for me, I think in the center, I would go with Ekitike.
And if you think about Liverpool and when the results have turned, it's really since Isak has come into the team. They were top of the league before Isak came on board. Is that a coincidence, or is there some sort of consequence that he's brought to the team? And I think it's more of the latter. He's disrupted the team in some way. And I would certainly start Ekitike right now. The rest of the team, I'm not sure. I look at Florian Wirtz and I say, wow, really talented player. I wish he would shoot. I wish he would shoot the ball. When I saw them chasing the game and Florian Wirtz has this composure in the box, he's able to be composed, take the ball, move his body into the space, pass the ball to someone else who's in a better position maybe than he is. What I'd like to see him do is to use that ability to put himself in a position to take a shot, not look to Mo Salah or Gakpo. I want to see him be a player who feels like he has to be the player to get results. If he starts to take that role and he looks at Kevin De Bruyne, the way he played that number 10 role, scoring, assisting with equal emphasis on both, I think then Florian Wirtz can then grow into that position. I agree he should play. I think he needs to go through that assimilation process. I think Ekitike is the player who balances out the lesser than perfect performances from Florian Wirtz. And that's what we saw earlier in the season. There should be a system where you can have Ekitike and Isak playing at the same time. We need to see if they can play together and to see if that will be a devastating combination. I'm interested in hearing what our subscribers think, our viewers. Who should be in Liverpool's first 11? Should Mo Salah be dropped? Should Ekitike start over Isak? Please subscribe. Let us know what you think.